All right, welcome to Mindful Meetup, Monday edition. Today, this is one of those times, and you may have heard me say this before, that it's really mostly important that we show up. How we are doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't even have to be all that okay, but keep going, keep showing up. That's kind of where I'm coming from this morning. Well, it's midday now. Or it might be middle of the night where you are. I don't know if you're watching this as a recording or not. But if you are here live, welcome. This is live streaming in Facebook as well as here on the Zoom platforms. So if you're watching or participating in any way on Facebook, just give us a thumbs up, say hi, comment in the threads below. Would be awesome. It's always nice to know that people have been here and that I haven't been just alone in the ether meditating. So great to have you with us, whether you're live or not. And let's just begin by completing this settling, arriving process. So take a couple deep breaths if that feels okay to do. Good. The key thing I'm really aware of today is a deepening understanding of rest. I saw a great article that I'm going to share in this week's newsletter that outlines some different types of rest. There are different ways of resting depending on what kind of rest you need. And I hadn't really thought about it that specifically or categorically before. I just intuitively knew there are certain types of rest that help at certain times. Alexander students of mine will be familiar with active rest, which I teach and practice, sometimes also known as constructive rest or lying down practice. And that's definitely an active rest. And meditation is also a form of active resting. When you practice with me, you'll hear me say in guiding meditation, let the attention rest on whatever. Let the attention rest on the breath or the body, or open the ear door to let the awareness rest on sound. And rest is the key word there. Resting in spacious awareness. It's a common guiding phrase. And the interesting thing about active rest in these two contexts, one is a little bit more body-based, and Alexander directions are kind of specific, but it's still an active engagement of awareness as you're resting. And that's also an active engagement and interest in what's going on when you're meditating. And it's really, today it occurred to me, this is the only rest I know about where we actually wake up. So usually when we're resting, it's because we're exhausted or we're sleepy, and rest is, we're tuning out, right? And there's a time and a place for that, actually, that complete disengagement, resting. But what we're practicing, this active way of resting, actually awakens as it awakens and brings energy up even as we're settling. And this is why when this is one reason why when you're running late, don't rush, slow down. Because interestingly enough, when we slow down, we become more effective, more awake, aware, present, and able to make choices. Resting during times like what we're going through right now in the United States, and of course the pandemic is around the world, but I'm here in Yardley, Pennsylvania, on the unceded land of the Lenni Lenape. just to be more precise and inclusive. We're going through some pretty serious times right now because of the pandemic, because of being isolated and restricted, and because, for better or worse, we are waking up to our own inherent structural racism, fascism, greed, and stupidity, ignorance. And it's a stressful time. And as my colleague Ariel Weiss says, I just saw in a little video, which I love, Ariel is saying, you know, when the stress factor is coming up, right? When the pressure is rising, that's when the mindful awareness also needs to meet it. We need these times of rest, refreshing, restructuring on the inside, coming home to ourselves. This is crucial, crucial. And if you're sick of hearing this phrase self-care, then think of it as species care, because we are all interconnected. And if we all took excellent, sterling care of ourselves and prioritized nurture for ourselves, not as a selfish thing, but just as maintenance, just as hygiene, you know, then it would all be better off, right? If everybody was really taking the time to rest, to renew, to live with more authenticity, it's a lot harder to be hostile. It's a lot harder to be isolated and alone when you're turning toward yourself with care and interest. When that's what you're practicing, then naturally you're caring and interested in others. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, fine, although there's nothing wrong with that. Do it for all of us. So again, super happy if you're here, live or otherwise, because this is good news for me if you're practicing, just like it's good news for you that I practice. So let's practice this resting, this renewal, this honoring of our systems and how hard they're working. So beginning by resting the body, hopefully it already is. If you'd like to rest your eyes by gently closing them, you can, or you can have a soft downward gaze. So that you're tuning in now to this body sitting at rest. Feeling the contact of the sitting bones with the seat you've taken, letting the body rest. Letting the legs rest against the chair, the seat of the chair, or the cushion. Feeling the contact of the feet resting on the floor, whether tucked underneath you or with the soles of the feet just resting on the floor. Receiving the support of what's below. Maybe with a bit of relief and letting go. How much more could you release through the pelvis, the hips, the legs, and the feet? Noticing that it takes no effort at all to stay seated. Gravity has you. The earth is holding us. So no work, no effort necessary, just releasing into that support. And then seeing if you can sense this wonderful power of gravity as things let go and release down into the earth. There's a counterforce that comes up through the base, rising up along the spine, through the center of the torso, to help the spine, the torso, the head, the whole upper body delicately be balancing and aligned. It's like there's two releases, one releasing down and one releasing up, without us needing to do it. As we sit within the field of the Earth's gravity, a suspension, an easy suspension in the body, resting, allowing the head to rest atop the spine. The head sits right at the top of the spine at about the level of your cheekbones or your inner ears. Just nodding yes, perhaps. You can feel this uppermost joint in the body and allowing this heavy weight of the head to be supported, resting on the central spinal column, rising up through the center of the body, resting. Allowing the jaw to be at rest, the tongue to be at rest in the bottom of the mouth, and the jaw easily hanging suspended. Allow a little space between the upper and lower teeth. Let the tongue and the jaw be at rest. Can the shoulders be resting? Can the collarbones be easily resting on top of the front of the ribs? If you'd like, you can take your fingers and touch those little round bones right at the base of the throat where they meet, right here, and then slide them across to the shoulders. Just touching your own collarbone. Lift your shoulders, feel it rise. Drop the shoulders, release the shoulders, feel the collarbone widen out. Go ahead, do that one more time, lifting the shoulders up and then letting them go, feeling the shoulder blades moving in back. Shoulder blades resting, resting on the round lattice work of the rib cage. Letting the arms be at rest, hanging suspended from the shoulders. Arms at rest, hands at rest, not holding anything, not doing anything, not reaching, lifting, pulling, typing, waving, all the actions that we do with hands and arms. Everything now at rest. Resting. Can you feel how choosing to allow rest in various parts of the body wakes you up just a little, brings you a little bit more into focus, into presence? Simply turning the attention to this breathing body. We're more awake. Choosing to rest the attention now on the rise and fall of the breath in the body for a little while. So feel how the body is moving as it breathes. Is there movement in the belly? Is your abdomen rising and falling with each breath? Is there movement in the chest, the shoulders, the upper back? Perhaps a little lift, a little widening on the in-breath, and then a release, a letting go on the out-breath. Can you feel the air moving in your nose, throat, as the body takes in air and then lets it go again? Wherever you feel this movement, these sensations of breathing most easily, most powerfully, rest the attention there. Just as we've rested the body on the seat that we've taken, we're resting the attention on feeling the breath move. Fully present for one in-breath. Fully present for one out-breath. Showing up for the next in-breath. Being there for the little pause at the top of the in-breath. Being there for the out-breath that follows. And then another pause before the body breathes in again. Inviting in a curious attention, a curious and caring interest in this body and its reliable breathing, its continuous waves of breath. Perhaps lightly noting arriving on the in-breath, resting on the out-breath. Arriving, resting. If your mind is a jumble of continuous thinking, proliferation of thoughts, or if the body is restless or the heart is agitated, rest. Don't try to change those conditions. Don't tell a story about somehow that being a problem. It's not a problem. Rest the attention on the breath or the body, right in the middle of all the agitation, restlessness, messiness. If it's chaotic in there today, then rest, surrounded by chaos. If it's calm, calm as a pond that's like a mirror, and your awareness is clear like a crystal, rest. Rest in the clarity. Thank you for your practice. May our practice and the good intentions of our good hearts support all beings everywhere without exception. May we all be liberated. Have a great day.